Hi there everyone, Life DIY Josie here. Welcome back to my channel. Today is Thrifty Thursday, when I do a throwback of one low budget idea every Thursday. For this DIY, I will be using this picture frame measuring 3.5 by 5 inches from Dollar Tree. I love the finish and I like the fact that it has this metal label on the front. So I will be removing the insert. That would include also this pretty wooden backing, and it's made of wood as well. I will be setting this aside so that I can also use it for future projects. So for this DIY, I would need a total of 4 pieces of this picture frame, and I'm also going to be using this empty shoe box for men's shoes, and I suggest that size because it's wider or bigger. You can also use the women's boots boxes because they tend to come in bigger, because I think for this project the regular size for women will not work. Now anyway, I am going to be utilizing the bottom part of the shoebox as my base in creating this organizer. As you can see, there is a gap at the center middle part. I'll be using these hardwood stakes that I got at 99 cents only store. It came with 5 pieces in a pack for $1.99, and this is the perfect size for filling the space in between these pairs of picture frames. You can also go to the hardware store or any gardening center that probably would carry similar items. I am just going to go ahead and measure my stick, and it will be lining up to the edges of the picture frames. I have this tool that I use. It's called a miter cutter, and I got this at Amazon. This is really an amazing tool when you're doing some crafting with wood and you want to cut. This one does the job. You can also use a handsaw, a hacksaw. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut 2 more pieces. So I have a total of 3. Then I'm applying my wood glue. This is the Gorilla wood glue. It's easier and better to adhere when it comes to wood using wood glue rather than E6000 or even hot glue. So this is the perfect one for adhering wood pieces. So I'm just applying it with a skewer or barbecue stick and then just drying them up for about a couple of hours. And then I'm also going to go ahead and add some popsicle or craft sticks to ensure that my connections are secure and stable. And then I'm going to be applying again some more wood glue onto the pieces of wood that I cut earlier in order to connect them all together, to connect them to the frames, the bottom of these 2 frames here. And then I will be applying glue on the top of these 2 other frames. I will connect that to the bottom of the piece of wood that I cut. I'm just wiping off the excess glue that oozes out. I also added the other 2 wooden pieces, one on the top and one at the bottom. And I just tested it to size on top of the empty box. So what I'm going to do here is utilize the cover or the lid of my shoebox, and I'm going to be cutting them into pieces. So first, I am going to be marking the height of this piece, and I am going to be putting as dividers for my shelf. So I'm just marking it with pencil, and then using my cutter, this is a box cutter or known as X-Acto knife. I'm cutting the corner so that I can easily just cut through my cardboard. So I cut 2 pieces lengthwise from that lid. So anyway, I've measured this and this is the perfect length, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do the one across, which is shorter. So I place my vertical one, and now this is the horizontal one. I'm just measuring the width, and then I cut it to size. So here I just mark the center of the 2 pieces and then cut a slit on each one, leaving about a half an inch on each one, and then that's where I connected them, kind of like an intersection. I connect them. I'm gonna be utilizing also the remaining parts of my lid, and I am going to go ahead and use them to support my shelves. I trimmed this one to size, and then I'm going to be applying hot glue, and then I am just going to be placing it at the center like so. And then I'm going to do the remaining pieces again, just kind of like creating a perpendicular or a cross, and then just hot gluing it at the center here. This will offer additional support for my shelves. And then my remaining piece here, I'm gonna cut them into smaller pieces, equal height, and that's the one that I'm gonna be using to fill in the gaps. So hot gluing those 2 pieces again, one on each side, like so. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply hot glue on this side here and on that side there, and attach it to those cardboard excess that I have placed. Making sure that everything lines up properly, and then applying more hot glue to ensure that they connect well. If there are any gaps, this is where I am going to be applying my glue to secure my shelf. Now I'm going to be adding this Gorilla Tape to go. You can also use electric tape just to cover the shelves so that it will look much better. And so I'm just utilizing this to cover the edges. You can also use washi, but since I have this anyway on hand, and it worked out well because my shoe box, I like the finish. I like the black matte on this box. And also the interior, I like the tan color. So the combination or the contrast of the black and the tan really works out fine for me. And then that's it. Now I can start assembling this or attaching the top. I placed this block, which I got from one of my projects, a leftover from those box signs that I've been using. You can also use those tumbling blocks, 2 of them. Just place them at the center where the shelves intersect, just to provide additional support because there's a gap there. So I'm just going to be applying hot glue to the edges and connect my wooden frames. You can also use E6000 if you prefer for a stronger hold, but I like using hot glue whenever I can. It provides a strong hold as well depending on the material. So the combination of the cardboard and the wood with the hot glue works out just fine. Wood glue would work fine as well. So here I'm just adding more hot glue to the edges to secure it much better. So I'm painting the 3 pieces of wood that I cut earlier with acrylic paint, my nutmeg brown by Apple Barrel, and I'm just slowly and carefully painting those 3 pieces of wood. Earlier I was thinking about maybe painting them all the same color, including the frames, but I do like the finish of the frame. I like the contrast of the light wood on the 4 frames and then flanked by the nutmeg brown Incidentally, the nutmeg brown matches the tan of the box that I'm using, the shoebox. The inner part matches perfectly. So I'm painting also the edges to give it a more finished look. I love the color combination of the tan that matches the nutmeg brown and then complements the black as well as the light wood. Next, I'm going to go ahead and insert some labels inside those label holders that came with or built into the picture frames. So I printed 4 labels to identify the contents. I'm going to be using this to organize my pens. So for this one, I'm going to be using this for my infusible, for my Cricut, and then on its right, the Crazy Art pens that I have. And then on the bottom left part, I have chalk paints or chalk markers. And then on the bottom right, I will be putting or placing my calligraphy pens. So I'm just using this for my growing collection of pens. This has a little bit of angle here. It is perfect for pens. That's why I did it that way, so that the pens would not just lay flat, but it has a little bit of a pitch or an angle so that the ink would also be going a little downward, but not too much. And the way I'm positioning the pens, the bottom or the tip part will be in the inner part of each of the compartments, like so. So the ones that are sticking out that I could see are the bottom parts of the pen. And this will allow the ink to flow better when I use them. So this is it, the final project. I'm using it as, again, my collection of pens organizer. But there are a lot of other uses that you can use this for. But for me, I'm using this because I love journaling and I do like coloring books. And I like using different colors of pens. But I am also showing here that you can use this for maybe your note cards. You can separate them by seasons or by occasions if you want to hold birthday cards or blank cards for any season or any occasion. Of course, I didn't redo the labels anymore. I'm just showing here that it can also hold the blank greeting cards. So I hope you enjoyed this video, everyone, and I'll see you again next week for another Thrifty Thursday. Bye!